our next Tech Talk, we have Don Fisher, an IAEM Emerging Technologies Caucus member, who's going to be talking about the fabulous LED display that is behind me. So, Don, please take it away.
Jennifer, thanks so much for that. Appreciate it. Hey, so we're going to talk display technology now, the exciting world that it holds, and we're going to talk specifically about what I think is going to be the next display that you're going to have in your EOC and things that you need to be planning about, and why DirectView LED is going to be a great video wall for you. So let's talk a little bit about LEDs. Everybody's familiar with LEDs, light emitting diodes. You know, they've been around for a while. In 1962 is when they started, about 55 years ago. So it's kind of interesting. This technology is now just getting there. It's the knob there on the, you got the knob? Okay, it's coming. The technology has been around for 55 years, but it really wasn't until it started developing into multi-color and actually getting smaller. So now, just recently, in the last several years, where the pixel density has gotten such that it's approaching that of LCD displays. So that means that we can get the LEDs closer and closer together. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen DirectView LED displays. If you go to any sporting arena, they're all over the place. And I'm not necessarily saying that we want to use that exact kind of technology in conference rooms and EOCs, but that technology is developing, and mainly what's happening is it's getting smaller pixel pitch. So where can we use applications for DirectView LED? Certainly in emergency operations centers, conference rooms, retail environments. You'll see, and of course, every airport you're into today that you visit, you'll see LED displays there. They just make a lot of sense for a number of reasons. We'll talk about that. Also, if you look at broadcast, so a lot of the major studios and a lot of the major broadcasting facilities have LED as their backdrop. So they have the talent here, and the background is changing. That's a DirectView LED. So, you know, why would we want to consider this technology? Well, a couple of things. One is that it's seamless. There's no bezels. You don't see any bezels here as you do with traditional LCD video walls where you're putting together 55-inch cabinets. There's always going to be a line. With DirectView, we can eliminate that, and you have one seamless size. You can also make it any shape and size. Right now, we have a 16:9 aspect ratio, which is typically what you have. But if you need to have something that maybe is two 16:9 stacked next to each other, or even something odd, something different that you want to fill a specific area, you can actually put modules together and create any aspect ratio you want. Brightness. One of the best things about DirectView LED is it's extremely bright. So even in high bright areas, you can still see the display. It's also less likely to be washed out by ambient light. Just to give you a reference point, this display currently is working at 50% brightness. If we were to turn it up to 100% brightness, you'd have to be wearing sunglasses. So it's just, you know, for indoor applications, it's just amazing. The other nice thing about DirectView LED is its color gamut. And what that means is that it can reproduce a larger gamut of color than, say, compared to a DLP projector. How many folks have actually had a spreadsheet up on a DLP projector, and you know they've highlighted things in yellow, and for some reason they look green, or green looks like yellow? It's kind of hard to make that decision. It's like, well, is this what color? That's because that projector cannot render, doesn't have the wide color gamut. DirectView LED does. It gives you a wider color gamut, true rendering of the colors. The other thing that's important about DirectView LED is extremely wide viewing angles. What that means is that I don't have to look directly at it. I can actually be off to the side, way over here, and still maintain a solid image of good brightness. The other thing is extremely long life, 100,000 operating hours. That's really, really long. So you're not going to have a continuous need to replace lamps or replace panels. It's just going to be there for a very long time. So what really makes up a DirectView LED? It's actually a bunch, and I mean a lot, of surface-mounted display devices. So there's a surface-mounted display LED. As you'll see, there's an example. So what we have here, if you come up, and I'd encourage you to come up after the presentation to actually really look close, you can actually see the display and see the modules and see the SMDs. Each SMD is made up of an RGB die. So there's a red, green, blue LED in that die. So each little square here is an RGB color. By the way, with us today is John Bailey from Lennar Planar, who is kindly allowing us to use this display for the CTC booth. He actually has a module, and he's showing you, if you take up look close, you can actually see those LEDs. And also what he's holding in his hand is a cabinet. So when you go build an LED wall, you put a bunch of the cabinets together. So look how the size of that cabinet. There are 5 by 6 cabinets to make up this video wall. It's really great. It's like taking building blocks for displays. Stack them together, you plug them up, you associate them together, and they all become one gigantic display. What's also nice about that is if for some reason you need to do a repair, if something becomes damaged, you can just pull one cabinet out and replace that. And in some cases, pull the cabinet out, send it back, and replace the module. And a module basically is a smaller subset of the circuit board that's actually on the cabinet. John, can you actually show them that? Can you see that? So there's actually a smaller square on that cabinet is actually where the module is. And many manufacturers give you the ability that if for some reason you have a damage to your cabinet or damage to the LED, you can actually pull the cabinet, send it back, and they'll replace the module or replace it with the attic stock that comes with the actual unit itself. The other really neat thing about DirectView LED is you can achieve very good blacks. And we do that by basically putting a black epoxy between the LEDs. If you look closely, if you were to turn the display off, it actually is black. That's because of the black coloring between the display. As we said, the other thing that's nice about DirectView LED is the wide color gamut. It gives you the ability to display a larger range of colors than you can with other types of technology. Now, one thing that a lot of people need to know about DirectView LED is called pixel pitch, and that's basically how tightly or how close each pixel is to one another. So remember we talked about the display module? So we have each surface-mounted display here, surface-mounted device. The distance between those is called pixel pitch, the spacing between those. And if you come up and you look real close, you can see the spacing. As you walk away and get a longer viewing distance, you don't see that spacing as much. Also, you'll notice that when we put modules together, that space is very, very small in terms of the gap, so that's why you don't see that. Now, the thing you need to remember about DirectView LED is how far away you're going to be from it. So this is a 1.9 millimeter pitch, and 20 feet or so, you're not going to see the display. So if you're standing at the edge of the booth over there, you're not going to see the gap. It won't look grainy. It won't look like you're looking through a screen door. As you get closer to it, that will increase. So the tighter we make those pixels, the closer you can view it. And that's really the one thing that's driving applications of this in indoor environments is now manufacturers are being able to go from even a 3 millimeter, which is what you might see on an outdoor display, or even a 5 millimeter, down to a 0.06. So we're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Our viewing distances are coming closer. So now it makes sense that in a room, like an EOC, you can sit on the front row and still have a far enough viewing distance to see the display without seeing the resolution. Another really great thing about DirectView LED is our mounting options. You have a couple different ways to mount it, and because each panel is about 4 or 5 inches thick, it doesn't project off the wall. You see, that's the depth of the panel. That's it. And there's a mount behind it, a mount on the wall, that's another inch or so, and that's all there is. So you can mount that on a front of the wall, so you can have front accessible panels, which means that you could literally go up to a wall, mount the display, mount the panel, and if you need to get access to it, you can pull them off from the front and service them, put them back on. It gives you a lot of options for mounting. The other thing you can do is you can also do, like a flip-out design, or I've seen them also where they'll crank up and pull out, or just slide straight out. There's also the ability that if you needed to house them off a wall, so say for example the wall structurally couldn't hold the display, you can create a structure behind it to hold it and project it off the wall. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. The other thing you can also do by having that is if you needed to go behind and do some rear servicing, you can. So I want to give you a couple of examples. This is a really incredible control room that Planar actually has. It's their demo space, but it does give you the ability to see how you can integrate this into a command environment. The displays you see on the back are actually DirectView LED, and actually the display that's on the right, it looks like 2 displays, is actually one gigantic wall with 2 images being shown on it. This is the Channel Security Operations Center. And there's a great example of a DirectView LED being integrated into a wall, front accessible, so you don't have to have the space behind it for a projection room. And you'll also notice that because of the design of that room, they're able to see that at a very wide angle. So even the person sitting way over here to the left and on the far right still can see the image without any loss in image in quality. Okay, so that's just a quick overview. I would encourage you to come up, talk to John, come up and also take a close look at the panel, see what it's all about, and go there. Any questions, come on up and see me. Thanks.